Hello, dear foodie friends, and welcome to Kitchen Chat. I'm your host, Margaret McSweeney, and I'm so glad you're joining me in the beautiful Viking and Cornue showroom here in New York City, here with my dear friend and co-host and ambassador for Viking, Chef Jaime Laurita.
Thank you, Margaret.
And we are so honored and delighted to be here with Ellie Krieger. She needs no introduction. You've seen her on Food Network, a zillion cookbooks, James Beard Award-winning cookbook author, Taste Award. We were together last year at the Taste
I forgot about
Awards.
that. Yes, we were.
And did you get the Taste Award?
She
Yes, I
won.
did. Yes, I did. It was so much fun.
You're winning everything.
You know, winning at life.
Someone's
what can I say?
Someone's got to do it. And you're doing it well.
We're trying. Just putting good food out there and doing what I love. And I figure you work hard, you do what you love, you can't go wrong,
I'm
right?
saying.
Yes, and you have how many cookbooks out at this point?
So I have 6 out now. My last one won the James Beard Award, and I have a new one coming out in the fall.
What's it called?
It's called Whole in One, W-H-O-L-E, Whole in One. And it's complete healthy meals in one sheet pan, pot, or skillet.
Oh, I love that.
And I love the book. I actually just handed the manuscript, so I'm like, big exhale on that, and I'm just so proud of it.
Now, are writing books, and I'm not going to use the word easy, because I know they're not easy.
Not easy.
Are they getting any easier?
So at least I know what to expect.
Right.
I know what the arc is, right? But it always feels really hard because I never want to phone it in. I never want to do something, that feels less than wonderfully creative, that feels less than wonderfully accessible, that feels less than wonderfully fresh. And so that's my goal. And that, do that 125 times.
So how is your first cookbook compared to the last?
Oh, that's an interesting question because I'm a dietitian. I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist. And so my first book, actually, I love the recipes in my first book, which is The Food You Crave, which also won the James Beard Award, my first cookbook. But the science has changed. That came out almost 10 years ago. And the science has changed somewhat. So always, what I like to note in terms of nutrition is what doesn't change, right? So what doesn't change is eating more fruits and vegetables, making things more plant-focused, beans, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, healthy oils, avocados. But what's interesting is that in my first book, there wasn't really as much awareness of the importance of good fats at the time. And so in my subsequent books, I've really been more, liberal in the use of things like olive oil, avocado, healthy fats. Whereas in the past, in my first book, the science really wasn't there. It was still like, just stay a little bit more low in fat in general. But then it's important to change as the information that you get changes. And not turn on a dime, because I think that's different from a study comes out and you change what you do, you panic. I think that's sometimes where we wind up getting frustrated with the nutrition information out there. But if you really look at a body of evidence over the course of years and things are shifting, then I shift my cooking and my eating accordingly. And honestly, it hasn't been that big of a shift, but in general, a little more liberal use of fats, of healthy fat ingredients, like nuts, like avocado, like olive oil. And then also really paring down even more. I was never one to use much refined sugar, but paring down even more, knowing that it's actually kind of worse for you than once thought. However, that said, people are like they freak out about sugar, and you don't have to freak out about anything. Like there's room to put a little regular refined sugar in something and still have a healthy overall life.
Yeah.
And I think people just need to take a deep breath and kind of realize that.
And it's funny how food and design and decor, fashion, it all, we were talking about that in one of our recent kitchen chats, how it all sort of like starts with, especially with social media, a trend begins with, and now I'm hearing, and I want to know what you think, plant-based.
Oh yeah, and I mean,
now is like,
okay,
I see not the normal people. People are saying that more now.
Right, and what's interesting about plant-based, the term is used differently by different people. I think a lot of vegans use the word plant-based to mean vegan. But in my opinion, I have a plant-based diet, meaning I focus on plants in my life. I focus on plant proteins, but I'm an omnivore. I eat meat, I eat everything. So I consider myself to have a plant-based diet, whereas a vegan would also probably consider that. So I think what's nice about the word, but what's also confusing about it, is that it means different things to different people.
But do you feel like that's
But
a
the
trend
bottom
now?
line, yes, totally,
Yeah.
absolutely, people are open to it. I mean, if you said that 10 years ago, people would be like, oh, that doesn't sound good.
Well, same thing with
Right.
organic. You said
Right.
organic 15 years ago, people were like organic.
Right, and now people are really embracing that. It's fashionable, it's
Yes.
hot topic, it feels fresh and relevant. And I'm glad about that because I think that eating more plants is definitely a not only healthy but a delicious and wonderful way to go.
And you have been on the forefront for many years about nutrition and healthy
Oh,
eating and
thank
helping educate.
Hey
the
man,
public
I
for
was
years.
talking about putting avocado on toast like a really long time ago.
Yes, you set the trend. But one thing I hope that is still okay, I have to have coffee each
Oh
day.
gosh.
Is that still
Actually,
okay?
there's
or what?
it's not only still okay, there's some evidence that it might have health benefits.
Oh, good.
So brain health in particular and
It
some
helps
other
me
benefits.
not be a maniac.
Yeah, it helps. It's I'm with you.
You know what? I just need that cup of coffee.
And I think it's
emotion.
all, and it really that taps into this sense about balance because some coffee can help you actually, energy-wise, brain health, and so on, other aspects. Too much coffee can hurt you, and so this pertains to everything. And I mean that I think moderation is such a boring word. Like, all right, everything in
Yeah.
moderation, but it's true. Like, just have some, don't have too much, and listen to your body.
I
You
always
know
like
when
to
it
say
starts to affect.
everything in celebration. I think
love that, Jamie.
I say that all the time, and I feel
might
like
have to take
it.
I'll credit you
That's
if I.
fine.
I
So
love
everything
it.
in celebration, it's like emotionally, another big word for me, like emotional eating. If you deprive yourself, I think it's depriving yourself. It's a form of starvation, and emotionally, you know, I can't have that. Makes you
Oh,
feel
yeah.
a certain way, but I think you should be able to celebrate moderation. Like,
Yep.
I'm going to have that and I'm going to enjoy that. Yay, I get to have a little bit of that.
Yep.
I get to have a
And
little
celebrating nourishing yourself. Celebrating you in that I deserve to be nourished, both mind, body, spirit, and giving my body what it needs. And maybe it
number
needs,
7 with
yes,
Jaime
all right.
Nourished.
Celebrate, yeah.
Celebrate,
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So were you always this health-focused, nutritionally minded growing up? I
Okay,
mean, what
so-
was the pivotal point?
So my mom, I quote her all the time on this, she says that me becoming a nutritionist is like a pyromaniac becoming a firefighter. Seriously, I loved food from the minute I popped out. Where's the food? And I love food, and I always have, and I was overweight and had a very bad self-esteem as a child and very inactive because I didn't feel like I could participate, and I know what that feels like, you know, to have this like bad self-esteem, right? Based on your weight. And I think that our culture really feeds that in a way that I try to combat. And I think the whole diet culture, I really try to teach people and help people to move away from more toward a celebration of your health, of your well-being, of who you are, in whatever shape you happen to be, right? So, but I over time learned how to love food in a healthy way. I wound up studying nutrition as an undergrad in college, and then continuing on for my master's in nutrition, and with a minor in journalism. So,
Wow.
I need to talk with you a lot more. We have lots to talk about.
Yes.
But I feel like even healthy, the word healthy, makes people, it's intimidating.
yes, and people automatically think, oh, I've told people, like, you're on a plane, oh, what do you do? I'm a nutritionist and chef. Oh, I'm a chef and cookbook author. Oh, and what kind of food? Well, I'm a nutritionist, I do healthy. Oh, too
Yeah.
bad. I've had someone literally say, oh, too bad.
Oh.
And so I think there's a lot of barriers, and I think this is to your question about plant-based. I think the word plant-based sounds more tasty somehow,
Yeah.
right?
Ah.
So I think sometimes the word healthy, immediately people come to it with a negative connotation. And to be fair, there's a lot of healthy recipes out there that are really bad.
Right.
There are some bad recipes that just like, oh, just take the butter out of those muffins and
Well,
put in
I feel like
applesauce.
I feel like
Doesn't
most
work.
people, when they think about healthy, it almost feels like they have to make an extra investment in that. Like it's healthy, oh, I have to do some more work. It's not as easy.
Right. So they think it's more difficult. They think it's not going to taste good.
Right.
And I'm here to like bust that.
Right.
Because
Great.
I want it
You're
to
a
be easy.
disruptor.
I want to be in that
Yes.
regard because it needs to happen. And maybe, you know,
Happy is a great word instead of healthy too. It's like happy eating.
Happy
It's like
eating.
because it makes you
Yes.
once you like we were talking about before. It's like once you make that investment and you start to change the way you eat, and it'll then certainly change the way you think and behave, and change your emotions.
and maybe we
change
can
your
change
life.
people's connotation about the word healthy when it comes to food. Maybe we can maybe somehow that can turn around similar to the way plant-based has turned around, you know.
So what's your cookbook number 6 is ready to come out, or it's
So
coming out?
cookbook number 7's coming out in the fall.
7.
Yes, I have a public television show on now that's in reruns. And so I have 2 seasons of that under my belt, and that's Ellie's Real Good Food. And it's going really well, and it's wonderful to be on public television, which is just such a great format. And then I'm doing Facebook Live.
Yes.
Maybe you guys will come on my Facebook Live
Yeah,
show.
for sure.
I
Love it.
love that.
I do Facebook
Absolutely.
Live every Wednesday, just about every Wednesday, at 4 p.m. Eastern. And it's so much fun. I have all kinds of guests, and we cook, and it's in my test kitchen.
Where is
on
the
the
test
upper,
kitchen?
Upper West Side of New York.
So coming.
So, yeah.
To
Yeah,
do
for sure.
this.
Next time you guys are in
Yes.
town, I hope you'll come to my place.
Yes,
We can make something.
absolutely.
Make
Now,
something celebratory.
Yes,
exactly.
the celebration and moderation, or whatever.
All
it's
that.
called.
Everything in celebration.
Everything in celebration. So, is there one person within the culinary world who has had the most impact and influence on you?
Oh, wow. One person.
It doesn't have to be one. I mean, who has
Yeah.
really
I mean, I'm
encouraged you
always
on your
kind of
path?
looking out. You know, I really can't name one person now. I mean,
I feel the same.
it's so hard to do. It's like
I know,
picking
it's
your
like-
favorite color or
Yeah,
something.
right.
And I
It's
think it
right.
feels, and being in television, I do feel like, of course, Julia Child. And it almost sounds
Yes.
like trite, right?
And
so
did you met her?
I have never met her, but I
Oh.
feel like the way she approached television and performing, which never felt like a performance. It always just felt like her being real and teaching people stuff. I really, it always resonates with me, and I find that really inspirational, and that it's okay to kind of even mess up on live television or whatever.
And did you ever have a mess
Oh,
up on
golly
live
gee.
television? What happened?
Oh my gosh. One of my first appearances when I had just gotten with the Food Network, and I was doing a promo on CBS, and I'm doing cooking. I have 4 minutes, and I noticed that there's a little fire. The cutting board is on fire.
Oh, no.
During the segment. I didn't set it up. It was like there was some oil on the cutting board. It was too close to the flame. So I make this calculation, like, I think that flame's going to be okay for the next 4 minutes. And I continue to cook, and the host says to me, there's a fire over there. So I'm like, oh my.
On live TV.
On live television, 100% live national television. And so there's no towel or anything, so or salt. I take a spoon and I start hitting, I get the fire out. And then, anyway,
Do
so
what you gotta do.
so you do what you gotta do.
It's
so
a fire.
So I go home and I tell my husband, and he had been watching, and I said, oh my gosh, did you see that? At least I knew it wasn't my fault. And he says to me the comforting words, well, America thinks it's your fault.
Thanks, honey.
You're so great, honey.
I love
Thank you.
I love you for that. Reminds me of when I was on the set of the Rosie O'Donnell show. 2 things happened. One, the world doesn't know, but I had way back in the day when I thought I was real cool, I had a tongue piercing.
You are real cool.
No, I'm not. But I had a tongue piercing. And on the set of the Rosie O'Donnell show, the ball came out and I swallowed the whole thing.
No, that's
On set.
crazy.
Number 1, the whole ball, everything. And then I had this, I was doing like a sponge sugar nest over this apple tart that I had made, whatever, I was trying to be fancy. And I had told the food stylist, not to plug in the induction thing. And of course they thought I said, please plug in the induction thing.
no.
And it burnt the hell out of the sugar. So black,
Oh my
boiling
gosh.
sugar on the set live.
All at the same time with this
Yep.
tongue thing. Oh, yeah.
And I'm
All
like,
right. And you rolled through it and probably nobody noticed, right?
I think the burnt sugar was very evident, but the tongue piercing.
And you didn't choke. I can't believe
I
that.
just-
Oh,
Okay, moving
oh
forward.
dear.
Yeah. Well,
That's-
things like that, that's the fun part about, being on live TV is that
Yeah.
you never know what's going to
I
happen.
love that aspect of
Maybe
it.
so.
Wow. So if you've cookbooks, you have
So
shows,
successful.
Facebook.
Oh, and I
mean,
write for the Washington Post. I have 2 columns in the Washington Post. So I'm a journalist. I mean,
How many James Beard Awards?
2.
wow.
2 columns, 2 James Beard Awards. You're like killing it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I work hard. I love
You
it. I
do.
love to communicate this. I mean, I'm so passionate about having a voice in this, what often can be so confusing and so stressful. I feel like people open up a menu and they don't even know what to order. They're freaking out. And my whole thing is, I want to be an oasis from that, and I want to be a voice of sanity, and I want to be a voice of deliciousness and celebration and nourishment. And I think people really want that. I think people are tired of being stressed about food and feeling like they have to just do something that, I don't know, maybe feels wrong for their body or do something extreme. So anyway,
I feel I'm listening to everything you're saying, but I always think because of the way I cook too, it's so emotionally based, not
Right.
plant-based. It's so emotionally based. Everyone's different, and we're all going through different things. So everything may not work for everyone.
Right.
So it's like the thing that works most for me is showing people that you shouldn't stress out.
right.
It's right now today you have so many
So much.
choices and so many avenues to eat better.
Yeah. And frankly, if people just cook more, if you just make food, even simple, a piece of fish, some vegetables with maybe some nice dukkha on top, explore different seasonings.
And what's
But it doesn't
dukkha?
even, oh,
Sorry.
I'm like a little
Not
bit
to be
obsessed
confused
with this.
dookie.
Oh, so anyway, I meant
Sorry.
to, I'll tell you in a minute, but my point is not to make it complicated, but just making something simple. But if you cook for yourself,
Yeah.
no matter what you make, you're already
Yeah, you're-
probably going to be much healthier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just start there. And that's, if I can inspire people to cook more, like I already did more than half my job as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned.
I'm with you.
And so that's where you come in on
Sure,
this
it's like
also.
nurture, like
Yeah.
you're nurturing yourself. You
Yeah.
get the opportunity to do that.
So dukkha, I
Yes.
mean, they sell it at like Trader Joe's and stuff, so it's around. It's a spice, it's a nut and seed mix, nut seed spice mix. And it's basically like sesame seeds and it could be almonds or pistachio. And it's
Very Lebanese.
caraway seed,
Oh.
coriander seed,
Wow.
cumin seed, and it's all like toasted and ground up, and you sprinkle it on.
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
on your eggs,
Absolutely.
put it on chicken.
I make
I'm
my
gonna
own
have to
with a
pick
little bit
some
of chili
up.
flake,
Wow.
cumin, black peppercorns, and some really great salt, and just mortar and pestle that. And you put it on avocado, scrambled eggs, into cream cheese.
Right, on top of roasted vegetables, whatever.
Yeah, so simple.
So
Yeah.
that's an easy step, an easy addition someone could put in their everyday diet, and it has some health benefits
Yeah,
with that.
and
within
it
dukkha.
adds a ton of flavor. So it doesn't have to be bland. Healthy doesn't have to be bland, boring, difficult. Any of these things.
You know what I find too, maybe you resonate with this too, is that people don't understand spices.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's so many different ways to flavor something with spice, and if you just go to the supermarket or to your local, spice store and just grab things you don't know about, and just grab 5 of them, it's things that you've never used before, and then you just take that and then incorporate that and play with it, you'll be surprised how often you'll use that spice.
Yeah, it becomes it's
a
like
color.
But it is like an artist palette because you do need to get to know it. You do need to become familiar with what that spice does. What does that spice do in a savory setting? What does that spice do in a sweeter setting? I do feel like it comes with practice.
Yeah.
And so literally following recipes and saying like, oh, I see how this spice was used, and then trying to experiment on your own. But I think it does take a lot of practice and some time in the kitchen to really.
Well, what I did was I had a metal door in my kitchen in Chicago, and I took advantage of it. I made it my spice rack. I bought all of these magnetic containers, and from A to Z, I probably have
It's so
100
pretty.
spices.
And what's good about that is they're probably not so big.
Right.
So it's not like a huge investment.
Yeah, and then you have them in front of you. It made me a better chef to have these, and then little by little you taste them, and all of a sudden you start incorporating them into your food, and you can make the simplest thing more flavorful and colorful, obviously, with spice. So I love playing with spices and encouraging people to do that.
Well, this is making me hungry. All of this talk about healthy or plant-based eating and spices. Ellie, what are your top 3 tips for the home chef that you'd like to share?
So I think first of all, you're going to eat what you buy, right? So like make sure you have, I'll say this, on a Sunday, make one big pot of something, right? Make a pot of something. That's what my previous book, my latest book is, You Have It Made. So it's all about making ahead. And it's really one of the strategies that I find so helpful. I have a teenager. I like to cook at most weeknights. I live in New York. I like to go out also. But most weeknights I'm home. I feel like but I'm busy, really busy like everyone else. I make a big pot of soup. I make a big pot of bean chili. I make a big pot of something. And then I have that. I have also in the freezer. So make a big pot of something on the weekend. My other advice is to have 2 or 3 really quick weeknight recipes in your back pocket that you know you can make with ingredients in your pantry and freezer. Even if you're traveling, just have those. Know that you can pull something together really fast. And third, I think kind of prep a little. Boil up a dozen eggs. Cut up some vegetables so that you have them. Wash your lettuce one day when you have a little time, so that it's there, so that when you're in crunch time during the week, you pull it out, you run. That's what I did today. I was running here. I grabbed a hard-boiled egg, and I'm obsessed now because the winter. I love those Satsuma oranges that are so easy to peel. So I just make sure I have stuff like that, easy grab and go. That's also healthful.
Oh, you know what? I think your next cookbook should be Crunch Time.
Oh, I like that.
Celebration, everything in celebration.
All right. Well, I appreciate the consult, guys. I'm doing it.
Great. Oh, this has just been so delightful.
Well,
I can't wait to continue the conversation. Will you come back again for another one?
I would love to. Thank you for inviting me.
And book launch.
Maybe we're going to cook on my Facebook Live. Please,
I don't know if you want me to cook.
Yes,
I will. Actually, you're going to be the one cooking.
Oh, no.
You want to learn.
We'll have the fire extinguisher close by.
So. I do have one. Good. One. Obviously, I need one close by, apparently.
Well, Ellie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Great to be here. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Absolutely. And thank you, dear foodie friends, for joining the fun in the Viking and La Cornue showroom here in New York City. Make sure you visit thevikinglife.com and come visit me in my kitchen too, kitchenchat.info. And always remember to take a moment and savor the day.